If the school district doesn't follow the state's direction on gender policies, it could stand to lose close to $137 million worth of state funding. That's about 80% of the district's budget. Now, this is all according to the district's Citizens Guide to Budget, which was presented at Monday's meeting. Now, earlier this week, the Mead School Board asked for community input on its proposed policy amendment to the inclusion of transgender athletes in school sports, more specifically women's sports. Now, the proposed amendments require transgender students to get administrator approval to use the bathroom of preferred gender identity. It also says that students are not allowed to room on overnight trips based on preferred gender, and it would restore power to parents to be made aware of their child's gender identity without permission from the student. Since February, the Mead School District has been trying to balance finding middle ground on these state laws and federal policies to avoid losing funding from either one. To break it down, the school district gets around $137 million from the state, like I mentioned earlier, and on the other hand, they get close to $9 million from federal funding. Parents and community members on both sides showed up to speak about these proposed changes and how they will impact students throughout the district.
That a student cannot randomly declare to be transgender and gain access to locker rooms and bathrooms. There is a clear process and guidelines that must be followed. The district is already doing their job to protect non-transgender students. The board should be working on meeting the state requirements and then creating and improving policies that would benefit our entire community, not further excluding a minority group that I guarantee you already feels excluded and discriminated against.
But I just felt compelled to speak at the last minute when we had some speak from the other side, because I obviously am in support of what the district is trying to do. This is really about a safety and fairness. And so when you talk about equity and all, it has to be equity for everyone and all those things, but we want equity for our girls too. And that is a big part of the population, a larger part of the population that is not being treated fairly about sports, safety, and fairness.
While the details of each policy are very specific, the board says it will continue to ask for public input before sending a final version of the proposed amendments to the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction for review. The board says it will revisit these amendments and take further action in April. At Monday's meeting, the board said it currently delegates authority to the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association to determine how students can participate in athletics. Currently, the WIAA ruled that participation in athletics is based on gender identity. However, Mead, along with other school districts across the state, have called for an amendment to this rule. The WIAA is set to vote on the proposed amendment changes, which would limit participation in girls' sports to biological females, as well as asking athletic programs to create separate divisions for all students. That way, transgender athletes can participate. Now, the voting is scheduled to start on April 9th. In Mead, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.